everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Spark of Imagination, and welcome back to another Disney Speedstorm Disney somewhat podcast YouTube video. Today, I kind of want to cover the topic of why EPCOT's 80s and 90s phase was so much better than the current version that we have. Now, before I say anything, I gotta guess that you guys are gonna start typing away in the comments being like,
"Oh, this video sucks,"
and saying negative comments about, why you want to cancel me because I have an opinion of why EPCOT's 80s and 90s phase was much better. Now, I believe that EPCOT's 80s and 90s phase was much better because we had a lot of amazing original attractions such as Horizons, Journey into Imagination, Cranium Command, Body Wars, World of Motion, and much more. And this is one of the main reasons why I believe that the original EPCOT, basically EPCOT Center, was the better version of EPCOT. Now, I'm not saying that the current version of EPCOT sucks a lot because, believe me, I think it does in some way, shape, or form, but I'm not someone who just judges it so hard that I just start throwing temper tantrums like And I think to know that these rides that were around back then were way ahead of its time. Like Horizons and Journey into Imagination were the perfect examples of rides that are way ahead of its time. Because now that we have the technology to do these rides, it's now possible to maybe at least bring one of these original attractions back to EPCOT. But because of the fact that EPCOT is being taken over by so much space, and that a lot of the older rides are being demolished or just being replaced by other rides, it just kind of gets hard to kind of find out your steps on, where we should go for, more of these attractions. Now, if you were someone to ask another person, what was it like to be there during the early 80s and 90s of EPCOT? I'm pretty sure these people would say, this was the prime EPCOT. This was the EPCOT that I loved the most because not only were so many of my favorites there, but because we had Dreamfinder and Figment technically being the own mascot of EPCOT. And Figment is currently the unofficial mascot for EPCOT at the moment. Now, to remind people that are watching this video, I am someone who has never been to EPCOT, and I have never had the chance to experience the original EPCOT when it first opened on October 1st, 1982. And it kind of makes me a little jealous in some way, shape, or form to know that there are so many people out there who had the chance to visit EPCOT no matter what year or no matter what phase that they were in for EPCOT Center or just EPCOT in general. And I generally think that, having the ability to visit the original EPCOT was such a amazing feeling. And I'm pretty sure it was an amazing feeling for so many people because you were able to experience what it was like to be at EPCOT when it first opened, and being able to experience these amazing attractions that were just way ahead of its time. And this is why, EPCOT was just so prime during these early years and early phases, because everything was just so amazing. And it caught so many sparks of memory and imagination because these people really wanted to see what EPCOT was going to be like when the park first opened to the public. And although Walt Disney's original look and vision for EPCOT wasn't exactly what he wanted, but however, since Walt Disney had passed away, the Disney Imagineers wanted to bring something more to his original idea. Basically, what these Imagineers did was cancel their Walt Disney's original idea and decided to turn EPCOT into the EPCOT that it is today. And the EPCOT that we all know and love is the one with the ginormous, what they call golf ball in the front of the entrance of the park, or as what they call it, Spaceship Earth. And it's great to know that these Imagineers really cared about Walt Disney's vision, and they wanted to really put their creativity and imagination to the test when it came to creating something like this. Now, the original EPCOT was, of course, the original EPCOT. As I said before, we had the most amazing attractions that you guys can think of. And this is what really stood out the best out of the rest of Walt Disney World. Now that EPCOT has basically turned into such a modern age, things are just being changed left and right. And although a quote was been said before during the early stages of Disney when it came to the parks, change is just part of the process. But when it comes to Epcot's terms, I mean, sure, I think changing things here and there is okay, just to stand with the time, to stand with the future. But just how Epcot currently looks right now, and I'm not trying to be really negative or too judgmental on, the entire Epcot pavilion, I think that the current Epcot that we have right now is just not as perfect than what I think of it to be. The perfect Epcot, in my words, would be the same phase that we had when Epcot first opened, and having so many of the original rides still there. I mean, sure, I so do believe that the original buildings, like if you take a look at the Imagination Pavilion and the pavilion for the land and, the Wonders of Life Pavilion, I mean, those things are still standing. But, it comes to a fact that, a lot of these original things are gone. They've been demolished or they've just been replaced, and that's what hurts the feelings the most. Now, I'm sure if you were one of the people who had the chance to visit the original Epcot, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys wouldn't mind if most of the original attractions happen to return to Epcot. Now, that's a big thing to even say, is like, we want a original attraction to return to Epcot. And you know what? I feel you. I feel like having the ability to bring back some original attractions from the original Epcot would really save Epcot. I mean, because the current Epcot that we have, I mean, it's mid, but it's just not as good compared to the early stages of Epcot, where like in 1982 to 1992, those were like more of the prime years of Epcot. Now, of course, when it comes to the modern age of Epcot, I think the great things is, the festivals, like Festival of the Arts, the Food and Wine Festival, Flower and Garden Festival, Festival of the Holidays, like all those kinds of festivals, because these are things that really stand out with Epcot, because Epcot is really known for not only for its future in appearance and looks, and also trying to create and show people what the future is going to look like in about like the next 100 years or so, but also to explore the different kinds of, worlds, the different kinds of countries that stand around in Epcot. Like World Showcase is like the perfect example of something like that. When we have France, Mexico, Germany, like all of our amazing countries, we can have the ability to explore all that kind of stuff. And that's why Epcot is as good then, as it should be. We have the ability to experience some of these amazing things that, some people may not be able to experience, but they can use YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. Like they can use some sort of source that will show them, like, hey, this is what Epcot looks like, and this is what it used to look like back then. Now, personally, I prefer Epcot Center in 100% ways. And that's only because, as I said before, the rides that were built around Epcot Center were way ahead of its time. And these are rides, as I said before, again, these are rides that they can be brought back. And since we have the technology to do something like that, we can actually bring back these original Epcot attractions. We have the technology, and Disney is literally a multi-billion-dollar company, and they make a lot of profit even from movies and from their parks. But most of their majority of the money that they make come from the movies. That's where Disney stands out most, is with their movies. Now, when it comes to the Disney park, likewise, I mean, sure, I think Disney parks in general are great. I think they were a magical place where happiness can just start with just one little spark. And that's what I really like about the Disney parks, because when you walk into a Disney park, like for example, Animal Kingdom or Epcot and Magic Kingdom, you want to feel great. You want to feel like you're warmed, welcomed there, and you're allowed to, share your love for a ride, for a character. You get to hug a mascot like Figment or Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. Yeah, you can enjoy some time at Epcot, but I know that's like me getting a little bit off topic here, but I'm just, kind of like explaining myself here when it comes to, the Disney parks. Now, there are some things that, I know there are some people who are not happy about with Epcot. And you know what? I completely understand. And I know there's a lot of people out there who prefer the early generations of Epcot because, the early Epcot was the best Epcot. Epcot Center was the best kind of Epcot that anyone could ever ask for that was made by the Disney Imagineers. And, although it may not have been the vision that Walt Disney had when he first created Epcot, because, earlier when I said that Walt Disney's dream of Epcot, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, Walt Disney's vision of Epcot was a city where people can actually live. And, you had shopping centers, you had food markets, you had housing, you had schools, you had traffic, you had everything with the original vision of Epcot. But I think in my own eyes, the main problem that was with Walt Disney's vision when it came to Epcot was that, first, it cost a lot of money. And I believe even compared to today's time, if Epcot was still in the vision of Walt Disney's vision, I can assure you that the original vision of Epcot was going to cost billions and billions of dollars. And, because of our current laws and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be absolutely impossible to build an actual city and make it into one of Disney's own. And since, this is in Central Florida where Walt Disney really wanted Epcot to be as a standout, being in the middle of Florida also makes it a little bit difficult as well. I mean, sure, because, Walt Disney World is located in Orlando, Florida. And Orlando is one of the major areas of Florida. This is where popular parks such as Universal Orlando, SeaWorld Orlando, and Walt Disney World currently stand, is in the world of Orlando. In the great and lovely town of Orlando. And since this was such a huge project for the Disney company, there was just no way they couldn't make something so possible. But these Imagineers really wanted to create something that was really related to Walt Disney's original look for Epcot. And the Epcot that we got has really excited so many people from around the globe, especially when Epcot first opened on October 1st, 1982. Epcot was the main point of another park for the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. And this was really the beginning of a new year. And if I was personally there to experience the grand opening of Epcot, I would most genuinely say that this Epcot is the Epcot. The Epcot that I will know and love for many years to come, and the Epcot that I'm sure many other people who visited it will remember it as a forever cherished memory in their hearts and in their minds. And I think that's the great thing about, the older generation of Epcot. It's because back then, Epcot just made so many people happy. It surely brought so many memories for many people for many years to come. And these people had the chance to experience the legendary Epcot Center. Now, if you're one of the people who visited the original Epcot, what was your favorite ride of all time during the original stages of Epcot? Was it Body Wars, Cranium Command, World of Motion, Journey into Imagination? Which ride really stood out to you the most? Because I am very curious to know, and I would love to hear your story of what it was like to be there for Epcot Center. And I would love to know the history from your own eyes and from your own perspective, like what it was like to be there for Epcot. But for me to end things here, to end the video here, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for watching for today's video. And, I really do appreciate every single one of you for listening to this somewhat podcast and seeing me race solely on Disney Speedstorm as I try my best to talk to you guys as I'm trying to race. But One last thing I do want to say is there is a special place in the hearts and memories for those who had the chance to visit EPCOT or EPCOT Center. And genuinely, I would hopefully one day be happy to be that one man who will be able to experience EPCOT for the first time and get to experience what it's like to be at EPCOT. Because, as I said at the very beginning, I have never ever been to EPCOT before. EPCOT has been my number one dream bucket list for a long time, and I've been wanting to go to EPCOT so badly. I've been trying, and since traveling is getting expensive nowadays, it's going to be impossible to go to EPCOT at some point. Now, I do have intentions and plans to move out to Florida here on my own anytime soon, but of course that is currently taking a while due to other personal issues that are going around in my own life. But, as I will say again, I would love to have original EPCOT Center back. I would love to have the original Journey into Imagination ride come back. I would love to have Horizons come back. I would love to have Cranium Command and Body Wars come back. I would love to just travel back in time just to experience the original EPCOT Center, because I think in my own mind and in my own words, this is the EPCOT that we all know and love, and this is the EPCOT that I believe many people would be more than happy just to revisit just one last time. And I would be so happy to at least experience an original EPCOT. I would be so happy to envision what it was like to be there during the very beginnings and the very early phase of EPCOT. And I will forever be the one person to still continue to call EPCOT Center, because that's how I see it. That's how I see EPCOT. As someone who is a huge Disney nerd, Disney historian, who also has a huge obsession for EPCOT and for two characters named Dreamfinder and Figment, I'm just here to show my expression of passion and love and joy for EPCOT, and in hopes that I can finally have the ability to share my love and passion for EPCOT. Because, I know that EPCOT is currently not at its best stage right now, and I know that EPCOT is, not looking at its best right now. And I know there's a lot of changes that need to happen to EPCOT in general. But however, I am not someone to judge EPCOT because they never been to it before. I would just want to walk in through those gates, go to EPCOT, and ride everything, and ride Journey into Imagination with Figment for literally the entire day, because that would be that one ride I just don't want to stop riding, because it has my favorite Disney character in there, which is, of course, Figment. But anyways, you guys, I thank you all so very much for tuning in for today's video. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite thing about EPCOT, and if you could bring one original ride back from the original EPCOT Center, which ride would you bring back? I mean, for me, it would be 100% Journey into Imagination, but if it wasn't Journey into Imagination, I would say Cranium Command or Horizons would be my secondary choice of what original attraction that should come back to EPCOT. And I am still having high hopes that maybe one day we will be able to have that experience, to have these rides come back once and for all for each and every visitor who comes through those gates of EPCOT, to have the ability to re-ride a ride of childhood. I am basically someone who has high hopes. I have the heart of gold and glitter and rainbows, just like how Figment would have. Figment would be having the heart of a rainbow and gold and glitter. And I'm pretty sure, even if we have Figment as the unofficial mascot, I think, since EPCOT is basically Figment's home, I believe in my own eyes that this Disney character deserves to have his home to be a much better home for all of people. For those who have the chance to visit EPCOT, whether it's going to be today, tomorrow, or just later in the future. Because, if I was Figment, I would love my home to be back to normal how it should be. I would love my home to be a home for all. A home for people to relive their childhood. A home that people can just walk in through those gates and have a tremendous smile on their face and know and see that EPCOT is literally the best park of all time from Walt Disney. But anyways, you guys, once again, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Let me know in the comments below about the question I asked earlier of if you can bring any older attraction back from EPCOT Center, which ride would you bring back? And what is your favorite thing about EPCOT? Because I would love to know your own side of, what's your favorite part about EPCOT and what ride you would love to bring back from the dead. But anyways, you guys, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And if you want to see more somewhat Disney podcasts of future things for anything Disney related, then be sure to subscribe. Because, as they all say, it's free to subscribe. I don't take money out of your account unless I need to. Okay, maybe that's just me being a little bit too rude. But don't forget to subscribe, especially if you want to see more Disney content like this. And, yeah, that's about it. Keep sparking with your imagination, you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Talking about old attractions, but I think there's something you might find interest in. I'll be back.